wondered life's questions and wondered, how do I make a Japanese foil ball? Well, today we're going to find out. So obviously today we're going to be making our own attempt of the viral foil ball that's been around for quite some time. I know I'm a bit late to the trend, but better late than never in this circumstance. So basically what we're going to do is we'll take our aluminium foil we've got here, and we're going to hammer it together, obviously, into a ball and a shape as much as we can. So I'm quite excited to see exactly how polished we can get this. I'm hoping we can get a mirror like this surface here, but we'll see. So our very first job is obviously to make the core of our foil ball here. Now we want to make sure that's as tight packed as possible because that will help us later on. So each layer coat has a good cohesion with each other. So let's start off with a nice little square. Because of the conductivity of this material, for some reason, I can taste the slightly metallic taste in my mouth. I have no idea how that's working. Remember, this is just the inside of our ball. So we're going to keep wrapping around this. So we're trying to get a nice shape to start. So that's the inner core. We're going to try and get that as round as possible and then start working our way outwards pretty much from that. So now we're going to take our core that we've got here and we'll just keep rolling it up. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way to roll this might be. So we're just trying to build that structural integrity in this first. That's my primary focus now. So I think the trick here, as we start getting towards what we might finish in terms of size, is that we don't want too many overlapping layers. So you don't want it too crunched like that, and you want it kind of as flat as possible, so it creates a cohesive layer with as few seams as possible. As we go along with this, because we started with a really nice spherical shape in the middle, I think it's just kind of forming in that direction. So I'm kind of happy about that. So the way I'm working this is also kind of like stretching a canvas as we're working towards our roll here. I'm then hammering from the outside in to try and get the creases. Hopefully we'll create a better finish. That's the plan anyway. Let's see how it goes. We're at this point now, we've lost a little bit of the size because I took some of the layers off just to get as small of a seam as possible, which we've got down here, and we'll have to fix later on. We'll come up with an idea for that. But at the minute, my main plan is just to get that as round as possible, so I can see we're not quite there yet. But you want to be quite careful. You don't want to hit this too hard. Aluminium is very soft. Even if this was a solid ball of aluminium, it'd be quite soft, let alone all these textures creating weak areas, which I can see already we're struggling with. So just to give you an idea, when it comes to shaping this with a hammer, essentially we're doing the same thing you do with a blue tack. If you roll this into a ball, so we take it and we squash it into sort of a squarish shape. If you've ever been bored at school and you've done this, you know what I'm talking about. And then you just start rolling it like this in your hands. And essentially this is just loads of hammer marks hitting it all around. And so we can just roll it like that between our hands, squashing the areas that we want to flatten. And you can see now we're left with a ball. So it's that sort of principle. So it's just about being slow and steady, staying consistent, moving it around and hitting it all over to get a round as shape as possible. We're getting close to our shape. So you can see as we keep going, the texture gets closer and closer and closer. I don't know at what point does that stop, or I don't think we can keep going all the way to a mirror like this. I think you have to polish it to get to a mirror. What I seem to see a lot with these is people make a thumbnail with an actual mirror ball, maybe stainless steel or something like that that's been polished. Not an aluminium mirror ball, foil ball even. And so, yeah, and the end result never looks anything like it. There's one that I've seen that looked like it, but even that, they used a fake ball for the thumbnail, So shape-wise, I think we're looking pretty good at the minute. That's pretty ball-shaped to me, if you ask. Let's just do a mirror check at the minute. So yeah, we are getting there, but definitely not quite where we want to be yet. Like I said, I don't think we can get our mirror finished just with a hammer. We're going to have to move on to the polishing at some point, but we'll see what we can do first. Let's just do a quick roll test and see what we're looking like. That's not too bad. Slightly strange roll. So where we currently are with the ball, let's give it a little polish in a small area and see what our progress looks like. So let's see. It's pretty reflective at the moment, but I think we can do better. We just got to keep going. So moving on from hammering and to take it up another level here, what we're going to do is what's called wet and dry sanding. I've got this sandpaper that goes from 120 grit all the way up to, I think, 15,000 on the other side there. And we'll use water basically to help as a lubricant as we're sanding this and taking a little bit of particles back each time. This is ceramic sanding disc, so we want to get it nice and wet. So also don't be afraid to come back in with the mallet just to go back and fix any areas now that might be slightly wrong. Right, so we're still at 240, but you can see we're making great progress. It's much, much smoother now. So next grit is 400, so let's get started on that. Slightly bigger pad here. So what's quite interesting is we have quite nice areas here. You can see it's quite smooth, but then we do have other areas that we have quite a lot bigger holes in. So I wonder if I just need to sand those down more in order to get them more like that, because I want the whole surface closer to that, ideally. Right, so we're going to stop at the point we're at because I don't think we're actually polishing it anymore with the sandpaper now. And we're starting to lose a bit too much material in some areas. We're also running out of time, so there's a lot of things basically going on at the same time. Let's just give it a polish and see where we're at now. So we can see it is taking a nice polish. Hopefully we can get that all the way around. Let's just see what we get on with. I'm just going to finish giving it a quick polish. I'm not quite as happy as I'd like to be with this, but I'll talk about that in a minute and what we can do next time to improve on it. Right, so this is what we've ended up with today. And you can see it's not perfect, but we do have a very, very reflective surface. Now, it could be better, but there are areas that I can see if we can get the whole thing like that, then this is going to be perfect. So I know we can get this better. Obviously, this was my attempt today. I'm gonna do this again, but what I might do is make a much bigger one. Maybe that's better for not having so many of these pot marks. But just to show you again, you can see we do in fact have a mirrored surface. Again, just not quite as detailed as I'd like it to be. But yeah, we're definitely on the right track. I feel like we are closer than we were. But we're not quite there yet. So I think it's going to take another video for us to get there. And we will, I promise you, at some point we'll finish with a perfect mirror ball. That's the plan. I want to get that out of this. So yeah, not too bad of an attempt today, but we can get better, I think. So just before I forget, I did promise I'll show you what's inside one of these. So let's cut this open with a hacksaw. So we'll put it into the vise. So I sanded it back a bit, and you can see the pattern is so interesting. Look at that. It's so tightly packed in there. I'm glad that I started it as tight as I did, but yeah, that looks so cool. We can see all the air pockets, which make it quite hard to get a smooth surface. So that's something for us to bear in mind next time. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Right, so as I mentioned, obviously I'd quite like to do another video on this. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see as well. Obviously, we'll just see how well this video does. If this is something that you're interested in or not, that obviously depends whether we continue with it. So with that being said, let me know what you want to see me do next. I read through all the comments. I love seeing when you guys interact with it. Finally, let's finish on these words. Very cool.